inside the last minute of the game. Paxman and Monkhorst will ruck. And we're down to 40 seconds now. Monkhorst back towards the boundary intelligently, but Broderick in the road.
Left foot guard with a chance. Paid. Too far out to score, you'd think. He's kicked 3. There's 30 seconds remaining. Must go quickly now. Last chance for Fitzroy. What a fitting finish this is. Roos! No, unable. Still an opportunity. Abbott can't crash his way through. Roos' left foot kick is a goal! Unbelievable finish. Well, you talk about irony. Roos to match Pert. What a contest. 13, 14, 13, 11. And gone. If ever a captain has kicked a goal, it was then.
Well, he really did lift himself. He's come down from centre-half back. He's flown over the top of the pack. He just couldn't control it. Abbott tried to take them on, bust the pack, but he couldn't do it. But then Roos in the fortunate position of kicking that left foot snap. It's put Fitzroy back in front. Can they hang on? There's 11 seconds.
It's been one of the great games. No question about that. 10 seconds remaining. Can Collingwood pull something out here? Gale misses. It's ticking. It's ticking. Fitzroy have won it. The Lions will win it. Here we go. Well, if ever the character of a club could be questioned and answered, it was today. Because Collingwood gave it to Fitzroy in the last quarter. And if Paul Roos remembers one game from this season, I'm sure it's going to be this one. What a week he's had. Captain of Victoria, and to do that in the dying seconds.
What a terrific game of football. Marvellous game. Played so hard. It deserved a big finish. It got it. And of course, Pert and Roos. So much was said about them during the course of the week. Close personal friends. It came down to a virtual shootout this afternoon, and that man, number 1, brandishes his fist to the crowd because he had the last say in this game.
Today's game is part of the Carlton and United Breweries 1992 AFL Premiership season.
Fantastic game. The Lions up by 3 points. Lynch kicked 3 goals and Guard got 3, and for Collingwood, Watson kicked 3 goals. 26,000 people at Princes Park. In the other 2 games, well, Carlton got away from Melbourne after they'd been level at three-quarter time. The Demons were scoreless in the last quarter. Kernahan kicked 5, Spalding got 4, and for Melbourne, Bennett kicked 4. And in the final game, Richmond made a great start against the Brisbane Bears, and it was all over pretty early. Jackson kicked 6, Naish kicked 4. 2 reports, Tony Free of Richmond reported for striking, and Mark Zanotti of Brisbane reported for tripping. That was football as we saw it today. And Scott Palmer from the Sunday Herald Sun, a terrific gesture there. We saw Paul Roos go up to Gary Pert. What a moment it was.
Terrific, Drew. We have 2 great mates, and tonight they're out having dinner together celebrating Gary's birthday of last week. They're terrific friends, and they figured in that wonderful climax today, Roosie getting that goal with 20 seconds to go, just 1 minute 25 seconds after Gary Pert had put the Collingwood team ahead. And they're terrific mates, and that's what football's all about.
I'll say. Does Robert Shaw reckon that's the best the Lions have gone?
He won't actually say it, Drew, but what he did say after the match today, that he thinks Fitzroy have overcome their inferiority complex. Although there's still a lot of people out there that still doubt it, but that win today really put a few nails in the coffin of those who doubt the Fitzroy success.
And Collingwood so close and yet so far.
Well, they were in the Carlton rooms tonight for the first time ever, and it was a very silent place in there. Lee just can't get over the fact that they lost it. That's 3 tight games in a row that they've been involved in, and he said it's not doing our percentage any good. It was a bitter pill to swallow, he said.
Well, we had another terrific game down at Cardinia Park. What did Malcolm Blight think? A bit close for him?
Well, he made a rare admission tonight. He said it's the first game he can remember that Geelong pinched it. He said, I can't remember another game where we played where the scoreboard was wrong. The Cats came back from the dead, of course, when they moved Stoneham to centre-half forward. And really, it was a terrific game down there at Cardinia Park. 27,000 people, and Joan Kerner got up before the match and announced that they were going to get state government help to build the second stage of the Charles Brownlow stand. Everything went right for the Geelong. They even pinched the game from St Kilda.
And the fact that the Saints lost, does it mean that no Lockett, no St Kilda?
Not really. Kenny Sheldon said if we'd kicked inaccurately against any other team, we might have got away with it. But he said today we were playing against the Silk. You know, he tried everything. Of course, he said we didn't quite have that polish on our game today, and it showed in that last quarter when they just let things slip a bit.
And apparently Melbourne scoreless in the last quarter, and they were crooked on an Earl Spalding free kick, a former Melbourne player.
Yes, very dispirited. They said it was a doubtful free kick he got at the start of the last quarter that got a goal, and Johnny Northey said it shattered our spirit and our momentum. And after we'd battled so hard to stay on even terms with the Blues. But it was a great win by the Blues, particularly when you think that they used a kid called Rowan Welsh from Dandenong who kicked 84 goals in the VFA last week. He's only about 6'2", 6'3". Justin Madden was taken off. He went into the ruck and he really turned Jimmy Steins around today.
OK, Scotty, that's all the time we have, but Richmond found some height on the forward line and had a big win against the Bears at the MCG. Look forward to the paper tomorrow. Scotty, what message have you got?
I'll keep punching, Drew, and get down to the Willie Tavern tonight. The Collingwood boys having a band night, but they're going to play the slow waltz after that victory by the Fitzroy today.
I think so. Thank you, Scotland.
See you, mate.
Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. OK, that's just about all we have for you tonight. Just a reminder about the games to complete the round. Coming up tomorrow, we have Adelaide and North Melbourne live at 2 o'clock. Footscray and Hawthorn, what a game at the Western Oval in the replay at 5 o'clock. And also tomorrow, Essendon and Sydney. Good night to you all.
Football 92, proudly brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors, BP Australia, CUB.
Carlton 4th, Fitzroy in the 6th, the big move, and it was a slide. St Kilda, despite their brave performance, go from 4th down to 8th position. As we go and have a look at some highlights, remember that St Kilda lost by less than a goal. Look at this incident. Ablett throws the ball to Hocking, and Morris touches it and is given a goal. Rolling. Morris signalling, and goal umpire saying no, goal. So the Ablett throw went to Hocking. The goal umpire says Morris didn't touch, and a goal given to Geelong in rather controversial circumstances. Barry Stoneham, our special guest today, had a very big part in Geelong's comeback and their victory when he was shifted to the forward line. That was one of his 2 goals. McGrath running into Brownless. Brownless going back in defence after really struggling. Coughlin over the top. This was, I think, Lowe's 5th out of his 6 goals. What a week Stewie Lowe's had too, with Victoria on Tuesday night. And a tremendous performance again yesterday for St Kilda. Brown, he struggled in the last few weeks after kicking a lot of goals early in the season, but that was a very important one to give Collingwood, to give Geelong that little breathing space. St Kilda wouldn't give in though. They came back strongly. Harvey missed an opportunity here. Very unlucky. Ned Zellick would have picked that one through, I think, from there. But a late goal then after that, but the Saints going down by 3 points. Richmond, well, they've won 2 out of their last 3, and they've got Essendon next week at the MCG, and if they win that match, then perhaps they're going to be middle of the ladder. But if they've certainly picked themselves up. This is a very bad miss by Ashcroft after the handball came from Rendell on the run and missing. But the Tigers were fairly impressive yesterday. They've beaten Sydney this year. They were very, very competitive against Footscray just last week, and yesterday very impressive first half. Brisbane did have a reasonable second half where they were only outscored by 1 goal. That was Kennedy and Bremen, and here's Knights, Jackson and Young. Some good play by Richmond, so things looking up a bit for the Tigers there. Well, this was the free kick paid to Spalding in the last quarter. What do you think? And Spalding went back. There hadn't been a goal scored at this stage in the last quarter, and this gave Carlton the lead, and away they went and won by 34 points. John Northey said after the match that he thought it was a body blow at that point. But a bit too easy here for Carlton. Bradley loves to tuck it under the arm, and away he went, got the ball to Bond, and even Bond was in slow motion for a couple of steps here, and he was able to score a goal. You may notice he was able to make a bit of a mistake, pick it up, no pressure at all from Melbourne at this stage, and run in and score the goal. So Carlton still very much amongst the action in the top 6. It was a magnificent game at Princes Park. Brett Stevens with a long goal there. Fitzroy had withstood the challenge. That was Lynch and Pert. That was one of the jewels of the day. Watch Ross Lyon. He attacks the footy pretty hard. That's on Gary Pert. Copped a very hard one. Here's Lyon again into Manson. It was a game of great vigour. It started sensationally. Now Pert went to the forward line, and with 2 minutes to go he scored this goal to put Collingwood in front for one of the few times of the game, and they looked home and hosed, but it wasn't to be. In the last 30 seconds, Roos went down to the forward line, took a big grab, missed that, got back, and then kicked a captain's goal, squeezed it round the body, and through it went. It was one of the great moments in football, no question about that. And Roos was best man at Pert's wedding earlier this year. Pert's going to be best man at Roos's wedding later this year. And there they were together, the two boys. Well, the two reports, Free allegedly striking Bain in the final quarter at the MCG, and Zanotti for allegedly tripping Francis in the same game at the MCG. And the headline for this week, with West Coast not playing, or Adelaide still not to play, the headline coming from the Sunday Herald Sun, Saints still short of the top. But I wonder, no Tony Lockett at Cardinia Park, and Geelong might have been a bit lucky to get home, so maybe it says something about the Cats as well. Well, speaking of the Sunday Herald Sun, Scotty Palmer, how are you, Scotty?
Good morning, Bruce.
Anything much happening in football at the moment?
Well, I can tell you now that Collingwood are in shock this morning.
What, because of Roos's goal?
Not because of Roos's goal. They've heard this morning that Peter Dacos has had a dislocation of his shoulder. He will go to the doctors, John Bartlett, tomorrow for an arthroscope. They're not very optimistic. The word is that if it's just minor, it'll be a few weeks, but there's a possibility that they might have to pin the shoulder and he could be out for the rest of the season. I spoke to the general manager, Graham Allen, this morning, and he was lying in bed and he just can't believe what's happened. Apparently Dacos did it in his sleep, where he might have rolled over and the shoulder came out. Now, it's an amazing fact that this boy is sort of plagued with injuries, but I know that Collingwood are absolutely devastated tomorrow. So the arthroscope tomorrow morning, they'll probably know by the afternoon whether it's good or bad, but the word is they're not optimistic.
See, that's an amazing story and a huge story for football fans and for Collingwood in particular.
Well, of course, the shortage of Dacos showed up yesterday in that match against Fitzroy. And without him, I know that they've even said today the goal-kicking strength is really sort of suffering now.
Well, they did struggle up forward yesterday.
But that'll be a big story tomorrow.
Well, it's a big story, and you've broken it here today, Scotty. Well done. And a terrific, that's not a good story, but a terrific story coming out of the West.
Yes, it really is. Peter Malesso, who we all thought may never play again through his cancer illness, will make his comeback in Perth today. He's going to play for East Perth against Subiaco. And what a wonderful recovery, and what a great sort of fillip for all those young kids who suffer a setback to find a boy who's went through hell and back, and now he's back playing football. Great.
So great news for one Peter today, but not so much for the other Peter.
No.
What about Craig Turley?
Well, he's the man that I picked early in the year as my Brownlow medal favourite, Bruce, and he actually played in the Waffle yesterday for one of his clubs there, and I think it was West Perth. He started strongly in the first half and then faded out of the match. So Craig Turley, who was an inspiration to the West Coast Eagles last year, back in the ruck. Very disappointing.
And just finally, Jarman, Mitchell, will they play today for their respective clubs?
I believe they both will play. Andrew Jarman had a private test in Adelaide Friday night. The driving muscle, wherever that is, Bruce, that's up here in the thigh.
Oh, yeah, it is, Scotty.
He got through that, and Barry Mitchell declared he's going to play today.
OK. Well, huge news, Scotty. Keep punching.
I will keep punching, Bruce. I'm a bit shattered myself.
You've produced a knockout today.
Yes, it was bad news for Collingwood because he's my favourite player, of course. OK. Well, Peter Dacos could be out for the season. That's the news from Scotty Palmer this morning. We'll know more about that tomorrow. We'll take a break, the panel, after this.
If there's an old-timer in your family, here's a wonderful way to spend some time together. Drive to Adelaide for the 1992 Shannon's Bay to Birdwood Run, Australia's premier motoring event for vintage and veteran vehicles, on Sunday, September 27, and take part in Motorfest, 2 weeks of rallies and get-togethers. Entry forms are available now for the 1992 Shannon's Bay to Birdwood Run, 60 kilometres from beachside Glenorg to historic Birdwood in the Adelaide Hills. Come to Adelaide in September.
This Mercedes-Benz, which is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Ermert of Melbourne, has clocked up over 700,000 kilometres. That makes it quite a youngster when you compare it with the Mercedes listed in the Guinness Book of Records, that's done almost 2 million kilometres. Still, Mr. and Mrs. Ermert are sure the record is in their sights in a decade or two. Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car.
Australian Rotary Health Research is a national project established by Rotarians across Australia to fund research aimed at helping the aged to enjoy their later years. Rotary, serving those in need.
Disability affects 1 person in 10. Urella evens up the opportunities. Children, adults and the elderly with disabilities obtain support and assistance from Urella. Your donation helps provide therapy, services and resources that improve life for people.
I've been on an excursion that made me feel really bad. was to the Austin Hospital in Heidelberg. And what upset me was not what you'd think. It was the fact that so many people, even little kids, are there in the Austin with horrible, horrible injuries, just because they forgot one simple thing: a seatbelt.
This is an impassioned plea from the Austin Hospital to please, please wear seatbelts.
Hi kids, Society Sam here. Now's the time to enrol in the Bendigo Building Society Vic Swim Summer Vacation Learn to Swim and Water Safety Program. Program 1 starts on December the 30th and Program 2 starts on January the 13th. You can enrol in one or both programs. Enrolment forms are available at schools, pools and any branch of the Bendigo Building Society or State Bank. So join in the fun this summer. Enrol now and be in the swim for Vic Swim.
Welcome. Gee, Bobby Davis, you're poorly attired this morning. Good morning anyway, Bobby. How are you? What's happened to the old jacket?
Truckload last week. Well, that's right, but unfortunately, I suppose they saw me with all those jackets and said, oh, well, he doesn't need a jacket, so... But anyway, look, I'm here, Bruce, and I've got something very nasty to say to the AFL.
Well, before you do that, Brian, come with our floorman. You better give him something.
Oh, a jacket!
For a man of his age. Hey, Bob, don't stand up. And it fits, Bob.
Real one. And where's mine? And after... Ron, you've got to be here 34 years. I came here in 1958, and this is the first jacket that I've ever got from. I'm in that marvel.
But Bobby, it's not the only thing you've ever had out of Channel 7. We have paid you in that time, haven't we?
Yes, but all those others I've got. Jared's only been here 2 minutes and he's got a lovely jacket.
Jared's only been here 2 minutes, but he's almost got my job, so don't you worry about that.
What about all the ties from the old World of Sport days, Bob?
Well, it was
2,000 ties.
Well,
it was ties or pies?
No.
Ties and pies.
A thief broke into my house and stole 2,000 ties and only left me with 400. It's terrible.
Now, Bobby, whilst you're in a very good mood, what about the AFL?
Well, the AFL need desperately to do something about the Brisbane team, and what they need to do is, if there is indeed a June draft, allow them to have all of them for a start, and anyone that they pick up that doesn't go to their side should immediately be kept out the game for 3 or 4 years.
Oh, Bob, that's rather...
No, that's all there is about it. I mean,
extravagant?
The two Jarmans and McDermott, they had those and they never went there and played. They've had very good players signed, and they wouldn't go and play with them. Now, if they're feeding them about, that's the only way. They're not going to get anywhere by bringing up a Rendell played reasonably well yesterday, but I mean, you're not going to pick up a team bringing Matt Rendell back into your side.
All right, don't give.
But you need, Bruce, they need proper assistance, and they don't want the AFL to wimp out like they're doing with that silly order off rule that they put in the other night. It's not even an order off rule. I mean, the fella goes off and someone comes on. There's nothing.
Bob,
it is unbelievable what they do up there in that house.
Aren't they going to get regurgitated players if they go to the June one? Don't they need more quality
players?
Yes,
but at the moment they need to get some players, Jared, don't they? Someone that can play a little bit, or give them the opportunity of at least looking at them.
Did you say something, Bob, about Brisbane in the very first place?
Yes, I did.
What did you say?
I did, that it was a farce, what was sent up there.
And it wasn't the AFL's fault, was it?
Whose was it?
The clubs.
Well, the AFL run the clubs.
No, they don't.
They didn't
have the power in those days.
Oh, didn't
they did not.
Don't you stick up for them again, Ron.
I'm not. I'm just stating facts. I am not. I'm right behind you, Bob. Although I don't think the June draft would help Brisbane. One iota.
Well, it's going to do something. It's going to let them have some players, isn't it?
Bob, just for a moment. I don't even want you to give your votes just yet. You've done everything else. Ron,
Bob.
Congratulations to you, Kelvin and Jared. It was football at its very best. In the first 2 quarters by Victoria. Well done as selectors. You got the combination just right, and you put in a little sneaky one late with Nathan Burke, but you must have been pretty pleased with the performance.
Well, it wasn't sneaky. We're very proud of the guys, of which we're going to interview one in a moment, but talking about value for football, down at Cardinia Park yesterday was a terrific match, doubled up by a superb lead-changing match in the reserves, and even the reserves match was great value. And for $10, I think the people got about $40 worth yesterday down there, which
Good
is
on
great.
Kelvin, where did you go? Did you get your money's worth yesterday?
Yes, I did for 3 quarters actually. So if you were following Melbourne anyway, I went out the park, but it was a great game for 3 quarters. But you just can't keep the lid on class players, which happened in Melbourne yesterday. But great performance by all the state guys, and I suppose when you're at the, you can leave out guys like Steins and young Grant. I suppose we're always going to be in with a good show.
You surprised, Gerard Healy, that the men that played very well on Tuesday night, in the main yesterday, played very well on Saturday?
No, not at all, Bruce. It happens every year. Every year players that play State of Origin football come back better players, and I can't understand the criticism by experts out there that believe that it's negative for football. A lot of the clubs want their players to play, particularly those that are heading to finals. But I want to say one thing out of Tuesday night's game. It has shown up one of the defects of this trial by video. Max Croxford assumes the role of judge and jury by not putting up players, and there was an incident. John Worsfold, I'm not saying he's guilty or not, but there was sufficient prima facie evidence to suggest he should face Neil Buzzy. Something's got to be done about that.
All right, strong words. Now, Peter, I know it's not your subject at the moment, but Peter Dacos, you were a great goal kicker at Collingwood over the years. Do you think Collingwood can be competitive and have a chance if Dacos doesn't play for the rest of the year?
Oh, they'll still be competitive. They're a gutsy side, Collingwood, and it'd be rotten luck if Peter's out, because he's such a brilliant player and they rely on him so much for kicking goals. But don't forget, Bruce, they've got that potent weapon down there teaching them how to kick goals, the forwards at the moment. So
who is that, Peter?
I won't mention his name.
Well, sensational. We needed somebody to take charge. That's what Malcolm Blight said about this man after the game yesterday, Barry Stoneham, who did take charge in that second half revival in that last quarter in particular. Barry, congratulations.
Thanks, Bruce.
It was a close one.
Yeah, it was. We snuck into the end there.
Peter McKenna and Gerard Healy and Ron Barassi were all at the game, and I think the men were all pretty surprised that Blighty didn't make the move earlier. Were you yelling out to get onto the forward line?
I was always watching the bench to see if the run was coming out to me, but I sort of prepared myself for Stewie Lowe during the week. I thought I'd play him. He's a great player as he is, and I was just hoping that I'd hold low and we'd win the game, but after a while the forwards were a bit down, and I thought it'd be about time I went down there, yeah.
Well, I think we should give Malcolm Blight a pat on the back, not for having the brains to do it, because it's a standout move that you would do, but having the courage, because if it hadn't have come off, and it almost didn't, and maybe shouldn't have, because I think St Kilda were very unlucky actually, but it's in for a lot of criticism if it doesn't come off, and to move a superstar away from another superstar, well, it is a bit of a risk, but
I disagree with you, Brass. I think we should be critical of Blight for playing him there in the first place. Surely he would have put Stoneham at centre-half forward. The whole game plan revolves around Stoneham at centre-half forward.
It does not.
It does revolve around that. The whole game this year has revolved around kicking the ball long.
Who won the match last year in the finals?
That's irrelevant. We're talking about this year.
This guy, and Lowe was even better this year. I think he's one player.
But surely you'd find another player to stick onto Lowe rather than changing your whole game plan, which showed yesterday. Of course it is.
Centre-half-back. It was not.
Ron, here are the highlights.
Played centre-half-back many times.
Ron,
not the last few weeks.
Now, here are the highlights. Your votes were Stoneham 3, 2 to Lowe. Unusual, they both played on each other for quite some time during the game. And 1 was G. Hocking, was it?
Yes.
Correct, OK, so 3 to Barry, 2 to Stewart and 1 to Gary Hocking. They're the votes, here are the highlights. Keep going, gentlemen, go at it. Peter McKenna, you were there yesterday.
Well, I'd like to ask Barry, playing on Stuart Lowe, he's having a sensational season. Well, he must have the strongest hands of all time. How strong is the man?
Yeah, he's a very strong bloke. His hands are really big, and he's like, even his body is very strong. It's hard to sort of get around him. If he's in front, it's hard to sort of to get around him and punch the ball away, so it's a big task.
Barry, did Malcolm say to you at the start, you're going to play on Lowe early in the week? And do you have a preference to play, as Ron says, either at centre-half back or at centre-half forward?
I'd probably rather play centre-half forward, but Blighty did tell me on Friday night that I'd play on Lowe, but I thought I would anyway, because in the past I've played on him, and my record hasn't been too bad against him, so I thought I'd be the man for the job, and I just prepared myself for him during the week, and Blighty told me Friday night.
Is there a great deal of difference in preparation as an opposition or a stopper to being your forward for yourself?
Oh, I suppose you have to concentrate more on the man you're playing on, even more so, I think, because you've got to try and stop the guy first of all, whereas if I was playing in the forward line, they have to try and stop me, so I think stopping your guy in the back line first of all is the main priority.
Talking about stopping guys, I think Frawley did a terrific job on Ablett. I mean, Ablett got 2 goals in the first quarter, but it took set kicks from the boundary line to steer them through, so that's not easy to do even for him. So it was a great game by Frawley, didn't you think?
Yeah, for sure. He's had a great record on Gazza actually, but Gazza did a few inspirational things as he usually does. And,
including the throw?
The throw?
Good throw out half forward there.
I didn't see that one.
Ah, sure.
Neither did the umpire, Barry.
Barry, I'm interested in, we spoke about preparation there. Between, say, the state game and yesterday's game, there's a lot of guys played yesterday that were in that state game. Was there any special routines you went through?
No, not really. It was a pretty big week, actually. Got 3 games in 7 days, and it's pretty hard to come up mentally and physically after 3 or 4 days. But I think just after the Tuesday night's game, I had a couple of days rest. I was pretty tired and put the feet up and just went about the business as usual after that. But there was no real special preparation that I did out of the ordinary.
Barry, it looked like the old Geelong with Damien Burke in that third quarter, running aggressively at the ball and thumping it down towards half forward.
Yeah, it was great. Great to see Berkey back. It's taken him a while to get back through injuries, and he's played a couple in the reserves, and he's great for the team, Berkey. In the centre bounces, he's always got the hand on the ball, and the on-ballers have more of a chance then. I think it's just his presence on the ground also helps us tremendously.
Barry, as a side, you must be a little bit worried about the form of your forwards. Now, in the previous month or so, you've been dominating the scoreboard, and yet the last couple of weeks you've had the likes of Brownless, who's been well down, Forsman, who's just a little bit off the boil, Brown hasn't been able to get a kick, although he kicked a sensational goal yesterday, and you've got Carlton next week, so it's going to be a big test, and the forward line needs to come up.
Yeah, it's for sure. A few of the guys are down a bit on confidence, I think. Billy and Brownie a bit down on confidence, but as you say, they always flash into play and get a couple of good goals, but I'm sure they'll come good.
It's amazing how confidence can swing. Like 2 weeks ago, you're kicking record scores.
I think confidence is a big thing in the game now. It's if you're very confident and positive, you'll play a good game. But if your confidence is down, it makes it that much harder to get a kick, I think.
McGrath's developed into a very good player.
Yeah, Timmy's going really well. He's settled in very well at the club, and he's playing very strong footy on the half-back line. He's a strong guy, big 100 kilograms.
After the first couple of weeks, how was he around the club? Did he ever get down at all?
Oh, I think he was a bit down at the start of after the first couple of weeks, he had a pretty hard initiation.
That's
first of all. But I don't think he's a full back, but he's a very strong half-back flanker, and he's done really well. Yeah.
Barry, the absence of Tony Lockett in the opposition, did that have any psychological effect or positive effect on your side?
Oh, I didn't really mind not seeing him there, but I don't think there was any real drama about it. I mean, of course, Tony is a very good player, and he would have been another sort of player at the cover. But
who would have had the job, you think?
Probably Stephen Hanley, I think.
So he would have been relieved?
Yeah, he would have, I think. There's a few happy faces, but as you say, and there's other guys you've got to cover. After Tony's not playing, you've got other guys like Tim Allen, is a good player, and there's 20 guys out there, and you just got to cover them all.
Now, Malcolm Blight virtually admitted that he's a bit lucky, the win. Do you concur with that?
Oh, I suppose there's a bit of luck in football, as they say. We got out of jail a bit. We didn't play very well and snuck in at the end. But I think to the boys' credit, we all fought on, and we're down at half-time. We're not looking very good, and I think just we pulled together, and I suppose a bit of luck, a few bounces our way and a few lucky goals, and we got the 4 points.
And just finally, we should mention St Kilda here. Gerard, they've lost to Footscray, West Coast, Carlton and Geelong this year. 4 of the teams that are very much in the picture. Their performance yesterday was terrific without Lockett, but there's still got to be a question mark.
Well, I think the question mark arises where these games are in the balance. We saw them against Carlton not so long ago lose a similar game where they were in control for 3.5 quarters and somehow snatched defeat out of the jaws of victory. So Shelton's got his problems. He's got to come up with some players that can lift in those crucial stages. And yesterday, when the game was there to be won, those players went missing.
OK, Barry, thank you for your time today. Good luck for the rest of the season.
Thanks very much.
Most exciting time at Geelong, and best of luck.
Thanks, mate.
Barry Stoneham, who was a champion yesterday for the Cats. We'll take a break after this. It's Fitzroy and Collingwood.
"200 years ago, the British sent their outcasts to Australia to be punished.
All rise!
Well, they're still sending them.
In the name of the Crown, I send you all to the 4X Rugby League Test Series against Australia.
The battle for the Ashes, Australia versus Great Britain, soon on 7.
These days, you have to face some very heavy competition to achieve world acclaim. But as the only cellular phone with a coveted Japanese Nikkei Design Award tucked under our belts, it seems our product had that something extra.
Motorola!
Ooh!
Call for Motorola!
So if you want the world leader in cellular phones,
Go for Motorola.
World Championships. A few months ago, I was all set to trade my old Commodore on a new one, just like I had a couple of times before. Well, I traded her all right, but on a new Mitsubishi Magna. I considered all the options, and the Magna won hands down. Sure, it looks better, but the story's a lot deeper than that. It's the overall quality, the quietness, the feel on the road. It just makes you want to keep on driving. Inside, the Magna's got the lot. I just don't think there's a car on the road that gives you better value for money.
Whatever you do, don't miss tonight's film. Use Listerine, the proven anti-plaque mouthwash that helps remove the bacterial film that brushing leaves behind.
Sooner or later, your body may need a correct balance of vitamins. So take the vitamins Australians trust. Synovus. Synovus make a complete range of quality vitamins available at supermarket prices to suit everyone.
Whoever they may be.
Synovus, the healthiest health company.
Tuesday.
You pay money for a baby? That's wrong.
Bubba uncovers babies for sale. And now he must save a little life in the heat of the night. Tuesday.
Well, going into round 20 last year, Fitzroy had won one match. They've won 4 straight this year. And working at the game yesterday was Dennis Committee. Dennis had everything. It was a terrific first 3 quarters, but we didn't expect what might happen in the last term.
No, good morning, Bruce. A terrific effort by Collingwood to get back into the game, but Fitzroy certainly dominating the game for the first 3 terms. Tough game of football, played at a finals tempo, I thought. A game of defences too. Dacos out, Osborne out, so both sides did struggle particularly early to kick goals. In fact, just one in the opening term. Jim Wind, quite outstanding for Fitzroy yesterday. Got a lot of the ball, battled hard at the base of the packs. Michael McGuan, steady for 3 terms and came back brilliantly in the last quarter and almost inspired that victory. And Paul Roos, quite outstanding again, having a wonderful season, and in fact went on the forward line in the dying seconds of the game, about 15 seconds to go, and kicked that goal. It was a classic finish. Pert at one end, Roos at the other, close personal friends in a shootout, and eventually Fitzroy got up to win.
Dennis, both sides are very desperate sides and attack the ball hard. Who won in that department in the physical clashes?
Well, certainly, Pete, early it was Fitzroy. The tackling of Fitzroy was quite outstanding yesterday. Their approach to the ball was terrific. Collingwood, I think, took the momentum from them in the last quarter, and really that was the reason they got back into the game. But I'm not sure a side can play 4 quarters the way Fitzroy played the first 3, so it may have been inevitable that what happened was going to happen. But Collingwood could have given the game away. They didn't. They stuck at it. They got those late goals, and probably they would look back and say, well, it's a game we had won. They'd pinched it with a minute to go, but then, of course, Fitzroy came up with that goal from Roos. Credit to both sides. It was the best game I've seen this season by a long way, and certainly the toughest game I've seen this season.
Now, Dennis, you've seen Fitzroy against 2 quality sides in the West Coast Stand and Hobart and Collingwood yesterday. How far do you think they can go?
Well, it's very much to do with attitude, Gerard. I've seen them beat the Eagles, North Melbourne and now Collingwood. They've been most impressive in all 3 games. Yesterday without Osborne. I think they can go quite a way. It depends, though, as I say, they've got to play at this level. Now, it seems to me from what I've seen they can maintain it, but it's going to be a test for them. I think suddenly people will not underestimate them anymore, and I think they'll be regarded as a side to be beaten, Fitzroy. Perhaps they've had an advantage so far with sides just taking them a little lightly.
Now, Dennis, you said before they couldn't keep up the pace of that first 3 quarters right through. Was that because they're not fit, or is it because the first 3 quarters they are so frenetic? Because I saw them do that against Essendon early
I think
in the season.
That's the key, Ron. I think it was so torrid the first 3 quarters, and they really did throw themselves in with reckless abandon. It's hard for any team, as I say, to go 4 quarters at that speed. Collingwood, I think, were out-generalled in that regard. I think they took a step back and were a little amazed with what they saw from the Roys. But then, of course, I think the tempo slightly went out of the game early in the last quarter. Fitzroy perhaps thinking they had the game won, and Collingwood, to their credit, came back very strongly.
Dennis, do you see the Collingwood forward line as a bit of a problem area, particularly if Dacos is out for a long period of time?
Well, it seems to me, Kelvin, it's the same old problem for Collingwood. We go back over the last couple of seasons now, just kicking enough goals to put the opposition out of the game. If you're a Collingwood supporter, I think you've got to get set for the fact they're going to be in some games like this, tight games, because they can't burn off the opposition. It would seem to me if Dacos is back, that's certainly a plus, that goes without saying. I would be inclined to get Craig Kelly on the forward line as well. They've got to do something, otherwise I don't think, with the forward line structure they've got at the present time, they can win the premiership.
Would they revert back to Brown at full forward?
Well, I like him in midfield, and I think we saw on Tuesday night the reason for that. He's a very good midfielder. He did well again yesterday, particularly in the last quarter. The prime movers for Collingwood yesterday in that last term, McGuan certainly, Brown and Francis broke the shackles, got away from Wind briefly there for about 10 or 15 minutes, and that was to be expected too. So I think Brown is more value in midfield. I think Kelly might be the answer down there. They need some strength, they need some bulk, and they need to get the ball on the ground. At the present time, McEwen is not doing the job for them. And the worry would be Morwood at centre-half forward at the moment. He's not playing that well.
Fair enough, Dennis. Good call today. And that's North Melbourne today. Thanks for your time, mate.
OK, Bruce. See you soon.
And when we look ahead, Fitzroy have got Footscray and Hawthorn in the next 2 weeks. And what about Collingwood's run? They've got St Kilda, West Coast at Subiaco, and then Footscray. So they really could be under some pressure, Collingwood, especially if Scotty's news is confirmed during the week regarding Dacos. OK, Kelvin.
Bruce, the best thing is that the pundits thought that Fitzroy without Osborne, you know, would be more hardly hit than Collingwood without Dacos, but they fought it out very well, didn't they?
They did. Well, Lynch has been a real credit to them up forward. And if they get Sartori and Osborne back, they're going to have a bit of firepower. They're a good side, there's no doubt about that. Kelvin, Carlton, 7-3, it's a good record now. Are they going to be affected, do you think, in September after yesterday's performance?
No, I think they'll be there. I think they've been strengthened by a few of the players around the fringe, like your Hogg, Thorne, Brown, those types of players. But yesterday was a great game, and I gave 3 votes to John Torodich. He was going nicely at centre-half back and then was shifted back onto the danger man in Bennett, and certainly snuffed out any hope that Melbourne did have there with a great performance at full back. Mill Hanna continued the form he showed on Tuesday night, and he was sensational, and statistics certainly don't indicate his true value. And I gave Earl Spalding 1 vote. I thought he was the mainstay of the forward line early in the game, chimed in with 4 goals, and another interstate player for Tuesday night with a good performance. But it was always a case that you thought that at some stage Carlton were going to take over. But to Melbourne's credit, they held on gamely for 3 quarters. They had a good centre line for most of the day, in stretch in particular. Brett Lovett did quite well in the centre, apart from the final term against Williams, and Phoebe was quite good early. And their half-back line in Bryce, who subdued Kernahan for the majority of the game, but still Kernahan showed his value with 5 goals. Rowe did a fine job also further back, and young Robbins on the half-back flank tried very hard. But unfortunately, as I said earlier, it was very hard to keep the lid on the class of the Carlton players, and Kernahan, as I said, came to the fore in the last quarter. Spalding continued on. Bradley, who hadn't been in the play much, and it was another good job done by young Lovell for the majority of the game, but his quality and efficiency with the ball, which was another problem for Melbourne. And I must say that they were cruel by a couple of decisions late in the game by the umpires, particularly one to Earl Spalding. It wouldn't have helped their cause.
Cal, is there any reason why Melbourne in a number of games this year have just completely died away in the last quarter? It's happened 4 or 5 times. Is it inexperience or lack of talent, or what is it?
Well, I think when you take 2 players like Jakovic and Lyon out of the Melbourne side, it really is a big hole. And yesterday it was a big ask for Brian Steins to try and contain Earl Spalding for the entire journey, which didn't eventuate. And I just think they're down on key position players, and they must be regretting. I mean, I hate to bring it up again, but to see Earl Spalding at centre-half back, he's just the player they would have needed yesterday.
Well, out of time, you've got to mention the new guy for Carlton, the ruckman, Welsh, was it?
Yeah, sorry, he did come on and did a good job, and he looks like a player that's going to fill a lot of holes for Carlton. He doesn't look like a true ruckman, but young Welsh, he came as a full forward, I understand, from Dandenong.
Just proves how easy it is to play in the ruck, doesn't it?
Beautiful kick
into the ruck.
Beautiful kick of the ball, and had quite an influence in that latter part of the game.
Full forwards just lead out and take the ball on their chest, you know that.
Well, young Rowan Welsh struggles down at full foot, goes into the ruck and takes over from Steins.
He hasn't got Barry Price kicking doing that, has he?
I thought you might mention that.
Lace out.
It was lovely, Macca, wasn't it? Still got the scars on your chest.
Pricey's a ripper.
We'll take a break. Back with more after this.
can man change the natural behaviour of an entire species?
There's a bunch of them all sleeping together, which is totally unnatural.
An extraordinary story on Beyond 2000 Tuesday.
This is an actual demonstration of how Myer Store's cleaning services can gently and safely steam clean your old carpets to make them look and feel like new. At Myer Store's cleaning services, we guarantee satisfaction every time.
From the outback of Australia, you can see the lights of Paris. From Mount Fuji, you can see the skyscrapers of Manhattan. And from the Kansas heartland, you can see the heart of England. You can see it all on United, because our wings now span more than half the world. Come fly the airline that's uniting the world. Come fly the friendly skies.
Custom Tone Kitchens announce a genuine 25% discount offer. Recognised as leaders in the industry, awarded for design excellence, unparalleled quality, service and value for money, Custom Tone have just unveiled their exciting new kitchen designs for the 90s. Visit your nearest Custom Tone showroom now, and you could save thousands of dollars with this extraordinary offer exclusive to Custom Tone. No gimmicks, no giveaways, just a genuine 25% discount when you purchase your new kitchen.
Are you safe and secure for the holidays? You are with Lumobil's Blue Ribbon Major Service and a Robinson's Road Atlas of Australia.
Blue Ribbon's the most thorough and exhaustive service ever. We check everything so you can explore every page of your Robinson's Atlas, free with every Blue Ribbon service. We take care of your car and of you. Lumobil's guaranteed Blue Ribbon service. Call 690-7177.
Call now. Stay safe.
Everything must go from Spotlight's annual massive stock-taking sale. Kids furnishing prints below half price, 99 cents a metre. Quilt cover sets below cost from $19.95. Panda yarn sellout. Disco 40 cents. Magnum tweed, Angaretta and more, $1.40 a ball. Scoop printed flannelette, $1.49 a metre. Cresta wool sacrificed. Quilts and underlays from $89. Take 25% off Style Line curtain tracks and Phoenix curtain rods in Spotlight's massive once-yearly stock-taking sale.
Myer Store's cleaning services can make your old carpets look and feel like new. And for a strictly limited privilege offer, we'll expertly steam clean 3 rooms for a low, low $53. Call us now on this number.
Well, Bob, you've been fairly harsh on Brisbane earlier today.
I wasn't harsh on them.
OK, the AFL.
Assist them,
OK, they did kick 10-6 to 11-6 after half-time
yes,
yesterday.
and they did kick about 7 or 8 points in a row and hit the post 3 times. So it perhaps wasn't that bad. But Alan Jeans has got the sausages in the pan, just warming along quite. He's got one side almost cooked. He's starting to turn them over. And there are some very nice sausages in his team.
Are they fried? Fried, curried, boiled, or
I think
grilled?
that they might be curried. Something. They're starting to get hot.
Now, Bob, for all the people that haven't been to Glenferrie Oval in the old days and understand, it's symbolic of the fact that what Bob's saying is that Richmond is on the way. What about your votes, Richard? Not Richmond, Mr. Davis?
Well, I did give 3 Richmond players a vote. Maxfield, who is a most exciting young player and looks as though he's really got the Jeans message, is playing very well. Knights, after a bit of a early setback against Gastiff, then started to dominate the game. And Stephen Jackson, I gave him the votes because he kicked 6 goals and he was a focal point for them, but you have to realise that he probably wasn't playing against the best opposition in the world.
Bob, I had a look at the Tigers last week, and O'Dwyer playing the ruck for the
Yes.
I'm surprised they haven't played Gale in the ruck. And I thought for a couple of years now he's probably their most likely.
Well,
best
he is. He's quite athletic, Gale. He moves around pretty hard and that. But O'Dwyer, when he was playing with Melbourne and playing well, looked as though he could have been a very good player. And I guess that's their object in recruiting him and wanting to be there.
Now, Bob, you said Maxfield has got the Jeans message. What do you think is this mythical message from emanating from Jeans or Glenferrie Oval or whatever? Because they have played well in the last month, Richmond, haven't they? Seem to have turned the corner.
Well, obviously, he's a great student of the game and he's teaching him the smaller parts that improve fellas' performance. I mean, most league footballers have got, well, a fair amount of talent, but unless it's properly harnessed by someone that can give them the little tricks to it, and Cal would know more than me about it, but Jeans, there must be subtle messages from him.
You know what he does in general terms? He simplifies things.
Yeah,
and where most coaches and players tend to try and over-coach or over... You know, if they're giving a handball from me to you, they don't think it's good enough.
Do you see any significant difference between this year and last year, though?
I do think that they are moving. There is a plan to their game. You can see a sort of plan going up the field, and when it works like the good teams do.
What is it?
Just the ability to be able to find the right option, Ron. I mean, last year...
Is that a plan, or is it the young players maturing?
Well, I think the coach must take some credit for it, because he probably says...
I'm not saying he shouldn't.
No,
Right?
but there are options, and you see the Bears, they definitely take the wrong option most of the time.
Ron,
they probably take the easier one.
You like to keep it pretty simple like Alan when you're coaching, didn't you?
Well, I've been accused of over-coaching, but you know, it depends what you really mean by these things. I don't think there's that much difference between the basic messages of all coaches.
I think
Still
Brass
get the
was a
ball
very
first.
simple coach.
I had very simple players.
I believe Brass made a huge move on Tuesday night.
I
He
did
changed chairs.
At a vital time in the game.
Yeah.
I said, Jared, get out there and back down on the fence.
Well, Peter McKenna's not simple, that's for sure. His votes from Sydney and Hawthorn last Sunday, and he went Jarman 3, who can play just a little bit, Platten 2 and Lawrence 1, Hawthorn 1, 2 and 3.
What about the bloke that was at full back? You couldn't rate enough about him for the Swans.
The Swans, Dunkley, he had 7 goals kicked on him, Cal, by Jason
but that
Murstall.
can happen, can't it?
Now, the votes, gentlemen, Lowe 12, going very strongly, Atkins and Wine 10, Dunstall, Bradley, Tunbridge, Ablett, Jarman and Stoneham with 9, and quite a few of those players involved in matches today. Well, let's have a look at the State of Origin highlights. At one stage, WA and Victoria were 2 goals 3 apiece in the first term. Victoria kicked the next 10 goals 6 of the match. And then Ron Barassi changed his chair, and Western Australia kicked 6 of the next 7. No, that's not true, Barassi.
Thank you.
It was a magnificent performance. It was footy at its very best by Victoria for about 45 minutes, I reckon, don't you?
Well, it's footy like that that makes me puzzled why a true footy fan wouldn't say, well, here's 40 of the best 60 footballers in the country, let's go and see them.
That's right. In the middle of the season, when they cut out the Foster's Cup, start the season a little bit early and give 3 weeks to the State of Origin.
It's amazing,
We'll
Bob,
be able
that
to
the
do it
critics
quite comfortably.
It's amazing the critics in Melbourne highlight the downsides, whereas in other states with other codes they just highlight the positives. And if we had have highlighted the positives, despite the 8:30 start, there still would have been 60 or 70,000 if the media had have got behind it.
It's interesting. I spoke to Laurie Daly earlier on the program today. He's not able to play for Canberra today. They pay his wages. He plays in a State of Origin match on Wednesday night. He can't wait to play for Australia in rugby league as well. So they combine it all there, and we're talking about 2 games a year.
Well, can I ask these guys, the selectors, now, have the players, do you feel, you're mixing with these players, have they got the same passion for that Victorian Guernsey that we obviously as ex-players hope they've got?
Peter, you should have been at the presentation after the Stuart Lowe got. I think he said in pretty simple terms, didn't he? He said if anybody doubted the attitudes of the players, just ask the 20 that went out there.
So that's good.
Yesterday. So
It's very good. It's probably not quite as great as the rugby because they're fighting for a place in the Australian side as well. They've got that over us. We've got to admit that. And there's nothing wrong with it. They've got it. They've only fluked upon it because of history, by the way.
Has Scotty Wine improved because he's maturing or because Gary Dempsey's got hold of him as a coach, Rob?
Oh, I think it might be a bit of both. I'm not sure exactly what Gary's doing, but he is coaching there and obviously doing. He would know a fair bit about the cave, you would think, Gary Dempsey.
Well, that's what I mean, yeah.
Plus this kid's very athletic, and big people take time a while to mature. So that's what's happening, and he's been very good this year.
There was 2 sensational goals by Lockett just there. I mean, just before. And I think a lot of people have criticised Lockett for being overweight and what he could be if he lost more weight. But I just think that he kicks a lot of goals because he is that size, and that were indication.
And his attitude, you couldn't question it, could you? It was fantastic, and he was very vocal
before the game.
before
Would he not kick more, Kelvin, if he lost 2 or 3 stone?
Well, that's doubtful. I just think his strength and bulk creates a lot of goals and a lot of spaces for players around him.
But does it stop him sometimes towards the finish not getting to the ball?
So he should be kicking 20
instead
of 15.
I'm just putting up the point.
The only thing he'd say was that he doesn't leap over packs like he was doing it 2 or 3 years ago. Now, whether that's injury or the fact he's thickened up through being 3 years older or he's heavier, I don't know. But he's not from doing it. But those 2 goals you spoke of, that'd be a credit to a rover.
Yeah, they're tremendous. Right. But I think it should be pointed out his attitude should be right, like everybody else's. He shouldn't be treated any differently. Congratulations, he played a terrific game, but so he should, because he shouldn't be treated any differently from the other 22 people who want to play for Victoria.
And
okay, sorry?
And he's not.
No, good. We're pleased about that. Good luck against South Australia, the Victorian selectors.
You don't really mean that.
Oh, of course I do. I want to see both teams play well.
Tongue in cheek, yeah, Bruce.
That book we're promoting, that book with all those funny stories, and a number of the panel members are involved here. Just for kicks, you can get it at any good bookstore, so we'll be promoting this book over the next few weeks. We'll take a break. Goals of the day after this.
A little boy with a dark secret.
Did you tell? No, I said I wouldn't.
Who is the frightening monster hiding in the shadows? A country practice, 7:30 Monday.
It's the most exciting, spectacular party of the year. Only at Warner Brothers Movie World's first birthday celebrations. You'll meet Bugs Bunny and friends in an all-star parade. Enjoy the blockbuster rides and attractions. And just when you think you've partied all you can, there's more. For your end-of-day grand finale, you'll experience an amazing light show extravaganza with Batman Live. Plus, there are prize giveaways. Only at Warner Brothers Movie World's first birthday celebrations. The party starts June 20 through July 19. This is the time to be there.
A few of the boys are surprised when I bought a Mitsubishi Magna. I've been a Falcon man all my life, same as my dad. And my heart said, stick with what you know. But 10 minutes into test driving the Magna, my head said, no competition. The feel, the handling, the dash, they're all spot on. And the Magna's responsiveness, well, was beautiful. Everything was at my fingertips. It's a damn sight cheaper than the Falcon. And while there's cheaper cars around still, the Magna's got a kind of quality you remember, long after you've forgotten the price.
SIO's Registered Repair Network represents a new standard in quality smash repairs and an exclusive 2-year guarantee. That's right, SIO give a 2-year guarantee. Call SIO now. Insurance as it should be.
Energy Victoria and Mitre 10 are working together to help save Australia's valuable energy resources and save you money. We've got Bradford Bats. Energy Victoria calculates insulation will save you up to 40% on your winter heating costs. You can reduce your heating bills even further with these Raven Draft and Weather Seals. With these compact fluorescent smart lamps, you'll save up to 80% on lighting costs. There's lots more energy-saving products and ideas in the Energy Savers catalogue. So to save energy and save money, just ask Mitre 10.
When I finally give this game away, I don't want to be worrying about money. Sure, I've got superannuation. But is it enough to live well on? So, I had a chat with my bank, Westpac. Their financial advisors really helped me plan for my future. Even showed me how I can top up my super. Now, thanks to Westpac, I'll have plenty to live on. I'm really looking forward to putting my feet up.
Will divorce and scandal end their fairy tale lives? The controversial television first, The Wild Royals, 8:30 Wednesday on 7.
Welcome back to Sportsworld with the Marks of the Week. In just a moment, Ron Barassi and Kelvin Moore.
The Mark of the Week and the Mark of the Year are proudly brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors.
Well, the first mark is from Neil Courtier, a renowned aerialist. Terrific judgment here. He almost lost control, but given the mark.
Yes, we're still up in Sydney. Uncharacteristic, that 2 grab by Dunstall, but a fine take.
And Tony Hall here cannons into a propping Murphy, but has the reflexes to regain composure and complete.
A little bit unusual here. First thought from Chris Langford was to go the spoil, but had presence of mind to take the second offering.
Fabulous ball control here with the one hand. Some people say a fluke, but those things happen too often.
And the league's best mark is Stuart Lowe here. He knocks it away and then takes nearly a slips catch there as they all grasp it.
There's a huge leap, lots of collision momentum in amongst this, but Paul Maru's mark keeps control.
I'll just put my foot right there and take this mark. Says Big Charles here. There's a fine mark in the dying stages out at Princess Park.
And here's young Hayden Robbins, a new player for Melbourne. A great leap, hangs in the air and completes a grab. Very, very good. We have chosen Paul Roos, a great player for Victoria, on Tuesday. I think it was your vote that got him in and got him captain, wasn't it?
I think it was, yes. I think that was the...
But he's taken a sensational mark here. Very, very strong. It's a big pack of players coming in there with a lot of force.
Had a big day, Paul, didn't he?
Yes, he has. Kicked the winning goal and done the whole lot. Had a great week.
Tremendous week. Afternoon, well done. So Roos joined some of the other winners round by round, the more recent ones on screen at the moment. OK, in just a moment, having a look at the goals of the week, Peter and Jared.
The goal of the week and the goal of the year are brought to you by BP. BP, on the move.
Well, the first goal was a tremendous goal up at the Sydney Cricket Ground. You see Jarman punch at the ground, then he butters up. Great skills, Darren Jarman.
Sensational goals.
And the second one still in Sydney, Simon Minton-Connell. Good scoop and a dummy, sells 2 dummies there, swings it onto the left foot, good goal, 1 of 7.
And Gerard Healy's favourite player, Mitch as he calls him, Barry Mitchell on the left foot, a good snap from the pocket.
A controversial St Kilda player here. We know that Sheldon picked him up mid-season. Now he did have a look at that. That was an exceptional goal. Great snap from a long way out.
Andrew Buse. Now you'll see him have a hot shot there. It went straight up in the air. He marked it himself and went back and grabbed it again. A good snap from about 25 metres.
Well, an old cliche in football, it may not be your match, but it certainly can be your moment. You have to be prepared, and that was Paul Brown's moment yesterday. Just about sealed the win for Geelong.
Yeah, big Ronnie McEwen. Have a look at this for a goal on the left foot. Under enormous pressure, threaded that one through. Top goal by Ronnie.
And one of Fitzroy's very good players this season, Ross Lyon. Good strength work, as we know he's capable of, and then kicked the freakish goal, and he does that very often.
Well, that great Fitzroy captain, he was delirious after winning this on the left foot snap. Not a great goal, but at the right time of the match.
One of the best goal sneaks in the AFL at present is Chris Naish. He seems to be developing with every season. That was an excellent snap from the right and forward pocket.
And one of my favourite players in the competition here, Andrew Obst, a very underrated player, and Melbourne have sorely missed him. A good left foot snap.
Here we see a bit of a scrubber kick there from Melbourne, and Andy Lovell comes in and makes him pay the price with a beautiful banana kick. Very difficult goal under that pressure.
Now the next one, Michael Pickering has been a terrific recruit for Melbourne. You'll see him here pick it up on the left foot. There he is, number 35, his old Richmond number, and hooks it through on the left for a good snap.
And Andy Lovell completes the double here. Second effort performance. Was going to handball, but decides to go himself. A pretty standard shot, I guess, in the end, but the second effort initially was good. But Peter, you've decided that?
Well, some top goals here, Gerard, as you would agree, and I eventually went for Dale Kickett. If we have a look at the replay of it, he does a lot of heavy work here in the pack. Look at him working hard. Eventually the ball comes back to him, but that kick was from about 45 metres at Geelong into a slight breeze, and it sailed over the fence. It was a terrific goal by Dale Kickett.
Who joins Derek amongst those that have been round-by-round winners. Well done, Dale Kickett. And the goal kicking, not much change. Kernahan's moved up to 40, but Dunstall still with a clear lead. Lockett losing an opportunity yesterday. Dunstall to play today. Kernahan having a terrific season. Well, why don't we start with Peter this time with some tips. Footscray Hawthorn?
Oh, I can't pick that one, Bruce. Okay. Very hard to pick. No, I'm going for the Hawks there. Actually, their record at the Western Oval is very good, and I think they'll win.
Got to fly through these. Essendon, Sydney and Adelaide North.
I'll go for Essendon, and I have to go for North now, Bruce.
No, you just back them. Gerard, the 3?
Well, I'm going for Adelaide. I think it's going to be a very good game. North Melbourne's got everything to win here. So I guess of Adelaide. Essendon to beat Sydney. And I think Footscray, with the northerly breeze blowing straight down the Western Oval, will get over Hawthorn.
Got a fly, Curl?
Yes, I'll go for Hawthorn, Adelaide and Essendon just.
Ron?
Exactly the same as my co-selector.
OK, Ron agreeing. And what about you, Bobby, to just finish it off?
Footscray, the Swans and Adelaide.
A couple of roughies there. The Swans and Footscray, the roughies.
Footscray. Well, Essendon.
Bobby?
Don't you think Footscray are good too? You're not thinking of that other thing you used to say about them, Ron?
I just think you're...
no, we won't say that.
You're a bum and jack.
Hey, Bobby, look after the jacket.
Yes, thank you, and thank you,
Does he own it?
Oh, he owns it.
He won't get it off his back now.
See you in just a moment. Bye, gentlemen. See you in just a moment.
On about me.